Brother lads, welcome back to the Cossy podcast. My name is Cossy. Welcome back to a brand new video. This is your transfer roundup. We dive into the biggest stories in the transfer news on the day. In this one, we're going to be diving into something on Ricardo Calafiori. Fabrizio has just confirmed that the player only wants to join Arsenal, and Bologna were with Arsenal and now forced into finding a resolution very quickly. We'll talk about that. Rafinha is a new target for Arsenal. Probably not a new target, but among the wingers that we've been talking about recently, Rafinha has not been part of them. So Rafinha, according to the Sport in Spain, Arsenal would love to sign Rafinha. They would love to give Edin Nketiah to Barcelona. Don't laugh. They would love to give Edin Nketiah to Barcelona, and then we add money and get Rafinha. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about the winger situation, which could develop very, very quickly as well. We'll talk about Chiesa. We'll talk about Bakayoko, and we'll try to decide who is the best option for Arsenal in this transfer roundup. But I think the biggest story in this transfer roundup today, it has been confirmed that Arsenal want to make 3 signings before the end of July, and that is going to be sped up as quickly as possible. As Mikel Arteta said, it was the Euros that was, catching us, a little bit behind, and also the situation we had in June. Now we expect a lot of deals to progress. We expect a lot of, transfers to happen as we enter, the last days of the Euros and also the last days of the Copa America tournament down in South America. Hit that button, people. Subscribe to the channel as well. Thank you so much for joining me. We are doing this as we wait for that big game, obviously, for England as they take on Switzerland. Make sure you hit the like button and let me know in the comment box below, who do you want to win? Do you want Saka's and the Rice to go through, or are you actually against England? Personally, I'm not going to give you my prediction on that one, but I would really, really prefer if Xhaka wins that game. I really, really do think that he has had an amazing year, and I would wish to have Xhaka continue that amazing journey. But let's start off with the big one, which is Arsenal are trying to make 3 signings done, or to get 3 signings done before the end of July. That is the big story today in the transfer roundup. And of course, Mikel Arteta has made it very, very clear that after Copa America and the Euros, Arsenal expected to progress on their deals very well. The manager said yesterday, but that our plan is already set in stone. It's clear. We know what we do. We know what to do. But the Euros have, I would say, held it back a little bit, and also the Copa America has held it back a little bit as well. However, I think Mikel is like a double-edged sword here. I think the plan of what Arsenal wanted to do was always clear to them, and they always knew. Edu said that in May, and he said, right from January, we knew what we wanted to do. We wanted to strengthen in every area of the pitch. We wanted to buy a player in every area of the pitch, and we have 180 pages of work, research, statistics about these players. Now, if stories are to be believed, if all stories are to be believed, and Arsenal didn't have Ricardo Calafiori in their list, and also Arsenal didn't have the mystery German player in their list initially, and that's true. The Arsenal didn't have the mystery German player in their list initially, and they also didn't have Ricardo Calafiori in their list. That means that Arsenal have used the Euros and the Copa America tournament happening down in South America as an opportunity to identify players that they probably or potentially didn't look at earlier, and potentially maybe they wouldn't have signed, right? Because on that list for left back and left centre back, we had Murillo, Premier League, Jared Branthwaite, Premier League, and Gerard Hatzel, Netherlands. It means, with Murillo, they watched him, right? I personally recommended Murillo, and I said, I think Arsenal should look at this guy. He's been sensational. Jared Branthwaite, if you didn't see how good Jared Branthwaite was last season, you're not a real Premier League fan. I'm sorry. Like, you just watch football. Branthwaite was arguably below the top 6, the best centre back there. I think him and Murillo were the 2 best centre backs below the top 6 clubs, because they were absolutely, absolutely good. And to put that into perspective, Everton is one of the clubs that had a very good defensive record. Give Sean Dyche his flowers, just because of Jared Branthwaite. He was very good. So I think what Mikel Arteta has acknowledged here is that we have given ourselves time to look at some new opportunities on the market. And I think it was Fabrizio Romano who said in June that this is an opportunities market. Arsenal will look at strikers, but they will also, they have strikers they want. They have players they've scouted, but they'll also take opportunities. Like Sesko, Arsenal didn't scout Sesko, in my opinion. I think they looked at him as an opportunity and they said, this is a young profile, young player. He's going to cost 50 million euros. We are going to go and sign him. And if Sesko had said yes to Arsenal, that is another player we would have signed, but he was not in the concrete options. Among the concrete options revealed by The Athletic, we had Gyökeres, we had Osimhen, we had Duncan Ferguson, we had Ollie Watkins, we had Ivan Toney, who eventually fell out of the race, and then we had also Zaxi, right? So I think this is a market where Arsenal have agreed, both internally and externally, that we are going to do a lot in terms of opportunities on the market. Calafiori, that's not a deal Arsenal have been scouting. That's an opportunity on the market. Sesko, that's not a player Arsenal was scouting. That's an opportunity on the market. If the player in German is actually Maximilian Bayer, that's not a player Arsenal was scouting. That's an opportunity they're looking at, and they're saying this is a good opportunity on the market. And probably even in midfield, maybe they were looking at Mikel Merino. Maybe they were not. Maybe they looked at his contract and they said this is a massive opportunity on the market. Joshua Kimmich, that's a massive opportunity on the market. So I understand why Arsenal didn't do deals quicker, because in this market, it's different from the way. It's different from the way we operated in the last three markets. So last summer, Declan Rice was concrete option. It was Rice or Caicedo, only two, right? And when Arsenal got Rice and Chelsea got Caicedo, you saw Liverpool. Liverpool didn't have a third option. There was no third option last summer. It wasn't there, honestly. It wasn't there. So they went and signed Wataru Endo, and wasn't bad, but you cannot compare him to Declan Rice. You can't compare him to Moises Caicedo, although he had a better season than Moises Caicedo. So then Kai Havertz one, I think Arsenal wanted to sign two midfielders, and then this summer we go for a striker, and things just changed. So this summer, Arsenal were going to sign a striker. Last summer, we wanted to sign two midfielders, one to replace Partey, who's Declan Rice, and the other to replace Xhaka, and that's Kai Havertz. Things just didn't work out. And then Mikel also wanted to sign a backup for William Saliba, and that was Julian Timber, because the season before last season, we had suffered a major setback with William Saliba picking up an injury, and we had to summon one of the players. I don't know how we summoned Rob Holding in a title race, but somehow we had to summon him, right? So after summoning Rob Holding, things not working out, Mikel Arteta made it very clear to himself and to Edu, we've got to go and get a guy that can, give us that quality of William Saliba. And you might look at Julian Timber as a shorter guy. You might look at him as, a different profile. But trust me, if he ever plays in that centre-back pairing with Gabriel or with Calafiori, some of us here might actually not ask for Saliba again. I'm sorry to say that, right? But he's a very good backup. That's what I'm trying to say. He's a very good backup to Saliba, and that was the plan. So this summer, unlike last summer, and unlike the previous summers, because the previous summers, Zinchenko and Lisandro Martinez, Arsenal needed a left back straight away 100%. We didn't have anyone there. A striker, Gabriel Jesus, Aubameyang had gone, and we were only relying on Edin Ketia. So I think Lacazette had also gone. So we needed a striker desperately. Hence, Gabriel Jesus. But this summer, think about it. This summer is about upgrades and also replacing. If Ramsdale doesn't leave, Arsenal don't sign a new goalkeeper. So you didn't expect Arsenal to sign a goalkeeper in June, or you don't expect Arsenal to sign a goalkeeper earlier on in July, because we are not yet sure a club is going to come in and say, give us Ramsdale, right? What if no offers come in for Ramsdale? What if he doesn't go out on loan? What if he stays? That is what the goalkeeping department is all about. Then when you think about the midfield, The midfield is still fully packed, right? Emil Smith Rowe is back. Fabio Vieira is back. Odegaard is there. Rice is there. And Partey and Jorginho are also there. So that means that, again, for Arsenal to work on the midfield, they have to clarify. They need to get that clarification. What happens with Partey and what happens with, Jorginho, right? Jorginho signs a new deal, well and good. That means Partey is the casualty. And again, how do you replace Partey? Do you replace him long term, like Onana, or do you replace him short term, like Kimmich? So that's where you wait for an opportunity on the market. What if Bruno Guimaraes was available? Maybe Arsenal thought Guimaraes could have been available, right? Look at that opportunity, the Douglas Luiz opportunity. If Arsenal are willing to spend money in June, and I don't think Arsenal were 100%, unable to spend money in June. But let's say we were not able to spend. That's why we didn't get Douglas Luiz, because he's a player that we really, really coveted. He's a player that we thought would have signed in 2022. That the deal didn't happen. It was close. It didn't happen, and we thought we would revisit it. But he goes to Juve at 28 million euros. Why? Because at the moment, Arsenal cannot spend money before June 30th, right? So it's a market that has been mulled with a lot of explanations and a lot of nitty gritties. You've got to work your way through a lot of corners in order for you to get the players you want. So this is what makes this month very, I would say, important for Mikel Arteta, but also very important for Edu. And it's going to be very hectic for them, because this is a month where you have to work on outgoings. At the same time, you're working on incomings. Yes, Mikel Arteta wants 3 players. Yes, he wants to strengthen in every position. And yes, he wants his players before preseason. But that is not going to be as easy as it was 2 years ago, 3 years ago. Because last year, we didn't have the Euros and we didn't have Copa America. So that means that Arsenal didn't have any change in plan and we didn't have any change in mind. You either go for the target you have highlighted or you don't go for anyone. Right now, Arsenal could change their mind. And I think we have changed our mind on 2 occasions already. We've changed our mind on the left back. We said Murillo is the one we want, or Jared Branthwaite, or Hato. Hato said earlier on, I'm not leaving. And so Arsenal had Murillo and Branthwaite. And then Calafiori pops up. And I was like, yeah, Calafiori, we're going to go for you. So I think I want to say that this month, Edu will deserve a lot of credit if he gets 3 signings in. And Mikel Arteta as well, because they work together. He will also deserve a lot of credit if they get those 3 signings in. It's not going to be easy. Most deals are depending on what happens with the other players in that position. What is happening? How do we upgrade, right? Is Mikel Merino an upgrade on Partey? There is a question there, right? There's a question there. Is Onana an upgrade on Partey? Or do they even play the role Partey has played? Because when I look at Mikel Merino for Spain, not for Sociedad. I've not seen him for Sociedad. I don't want to lie. But my eyes when I watch Sociedad are on Martin Zubimendi and Takufesa Kubo. But when I watch him for Spain, he plays in a slightly advanced role, obviously because we have Rodri, but he also seems like a rapid player. Okay, I mean, when you look at him, he doesn't seem like a rapid player, but he is a rapid player. And the positions at times he picks up, that is why he scores that goal against German and no player has picked him up. Because no one expects Mikel Merino to make a run into the penalty area behind Rudiger and jump like he is freaking Morata or Olivier Giroud and, bury it. No one. So is he the guy that replaces Partey? I am not 100% sure. I like him. I think his profile is good. But I'm not sure he replaces Partey. I don't think Onana replaces Partey. My thoughts on Onana have been very clear. I don't think he is the guy. I don't think he's the guy. It's as simple as that. And then there are even other players that I look at the Arsenal want, like Zubimendi. And I'm like, yes, Zubimendi, you are a 6, but are you the guy? That's a very big question. You are a number 6, but look at that guy. Look at Thomas Partey. Even when you just look at him in that Arsenal training session, he's a force. He's one of the players, one of the few players for me that come next to Lodri. And I've always said that Declan Rice doesn't come anywhere close to Lodri. I think it was who was it? Was it there's a Western player who said Lodri, Rice is Lodri plus one. He does everything Lodri does plus one. And I said, you're lying. Rice does not do everything Lodri does plus one. Actually, I would say both of them are different players. I think that's the only way we can end that conversation ever. Both of them are very different players. So for us to get 3 signings in, it's gonna be good work. It's going to be very, very, I would say commendable, because it's a disrupted market, like disrupted market. Like for you to understand that the market is chaotic, you look at Chelsea and look at the signings they're making. They have signed a guy called Renato Viega. He might not be bad, but I'm just trying to say that Chelsea have not signed Jared Branthwaite. Chelsea have not hijacked Calafiori's deal. Chelsea have not hijacked Matthias de Ligt to Man United. That shows you how chaotic the window is at the moment. But anyway, Mikel Arteta wants his players before preseason. And you know my thoughts on this. I have always said that, before, and I'll say it again. A manager like Mikel Arteta is God sent, heavenly sent. And I'm lucky that we didn't sack him. We are lucky that we didn't sack him. Arsenal are lucky that we gave him time. Because if we had not given him time, he would go to another club, maybe Man United, I don't know, maybe Barcelona, maybe, and he would have done an excellent, excellent job. If he had gone to Barca, he would have done an excellent job. So Mikel Arteta coming in as manager, there are things he has changed straight away, quickly. Arsene Wenger, however much I liked him, Arsene Wenger lost a game 8-2. He lost a game 8-2, and he went to the market. So where did that money come from? He bought, how many players did he buy on that evening, on deadline day? He bought Matt Saka. Remind me, he bought Matt Saka. Did he buy him on deadline day? Probably. Matt Saka, Arteta, Yussi Benayoun. There was a Korean number 9. I think it was called Park Chu-young. So he bought in Park Chu-young. He bought around 5 players on deadline day because he lost 8-2. Honestly, that meant that he had the money. Honestly. And honestly, that also showed us that then Arsenal had the ability to strike a deal quickly. The only reason Arsenal didn't do good deals, or Arsenal didn't do deals, was, of course, we were building the stadium, but also Arsenal Wenger going back, saying, I don't see any opportunities on the market. I don't see any deals on the market. So where did you get the deals? Matt Saka would become one of the best pairings with Koscielny, remember? Arteta would go on to become Arsenal captain, you remember? And then Arsenal legend, and then Arsenal manager, remember? And then Yussi Benayoun, really talented guy, really talented guy. Maybe didn't become the Rosiski, but he was really talented. So I would love to have a conversation with Wenger, right? Because that summer, Arsenal had done very poorly on the market. And of course, we continued to do poorly on the market. There was a summer we signed just Peter Cech. So I would love to ask him, how come that after losing 8-2, you went on deadline day and you brought in so many players, you improved the season, you finished third, you had almost one of the top scorers of the season. How did that come about? Yet you said you are not seeing opportunities on the market. So that is what Mikel Arteta has changed at Arsenal. And there are so many people, including some of the people on maybe in the live stream, that might say, Mikel is not a winner. And at times I really feel he's not a winner, but that is because I'm frustrated. When I'm in my right thinking mode, I have taken, this is Minute Maid, 400 milliliters of Minute Maid, and 550 milliliters of water in the last 1 hour. I am really functioning very well. So when I'm functioning very well, I know that Mikel Arteta is a winner. He's done it with Manchester City, and cannot question his winning mentality. You really can't. Personally, I shouldn't. And I don't think I will again. So what Mikel wants is we are targeting 100 points. That is now the rule. For you to win the league in the Premier League, for you to win the Premier League, you're targeting 100 points. You're going against Man City. You're going against Guardiola. He said to ESPN in his interview a few days ago, he said, I knew that 90 points don't do it. Right? 90 points against Man City. Oh, sorry, said less than 90 points. Less than 90 points against Man City, you don't win the league. And Mikel, in his last 4 years at Arsenal, last four full years at Arsenal, he has had 61 points, didn't win the league. 69 points, didn't win the league. 84 points, 84, 85, 85, 85, right? 85 points. 85, 84, 85. 85 points, didn't win the league. 89 points, didn't win the league. So Mikel has been in the Premier League as manager, full manager, for 4 years, 4 seasons. He has never approached 90 points, and he has never won the league. And he has come so close, very close. Remember the Liverpool side that won the title against Man City? How many points? Anyone? When did the team that didn't reach 90 points last win a trophy? If it's not Man City, if it wasn't City, when was it? So Mikel knows that for him to challenge City, he's got to go for 100 points. And how do you win 100 points? These are the things you do. 1, you out-train Man City. 2, you out-strategize Man City. 3, you outwork Man City. 4, you need chunks and chunks of luck. I think one of the things I could sell to Arsenal right now and become rich is a very big benson of luck, if I had it. Because Arsenal need the luck. Honestly, Arsenal need the luck. Going against City is, you've got to be lucky. Imagine losing one game in your last 18 games and you still don't win the league. Because why? Man City. They're abnormal. You need chunks of luck. So guys, this is a business idea for anyone on the chat right now. It's a very good business idea. If you're there and you know you can sell luck to us, we need it. We absolutely need it. But I think what Mikel Arteta is focusing on is not luck. He's focusing on getting in his signings early, quick and early, getting his players early, training with them early, implementing strategies early, and fostering that cohesion in the team so that by the time Arsenal play first game of the season, they look like a bunch of players that have been training together. We must have that identity. And I think in the last 2 years, there is no single time I've made a match reaction and I said, Arsenal don't have the identity. I don't remember saying it. That's because that is one of the things Mikel Arteta worked on first when he came in as manager. Can I have this team play as a unit? Can I have these players play as a unit? Can I have them represent a single idea? And now when you look at Arsenal, from goalkeeper to attacker, you know what we want to do. We want to win the ball quickly, we want to attack quickly, and we want to keep the ball. We don't want to lose it. Even Zinchenko that people don't like, I don't think there's so many people who would say Zinchenko doesn't take care of the ball very well. So it's defensively that he's got a problem. And that's what Mikel wants. He wants to, insert these doctrines into the squad every single preseason. That's what he wants to do. That's what he's looking at. And I really, really do like it. So I think after Copa America and Euros, that's when we get to know our second signing. That's what I would say. I think next week we'll get a huge hint on who our second signing is going to be. And after the Euros, that's when we get the confirmation of our second signing. And the Euros will end on around, 15, 16? 14, 15, 16 around there. And then from 14 to 21st, that's a whole week, we'll get to do our third signing. And probably they don't come in before the Bournemouth game on 24th or before the Liverpool game on 27th. But by 30th July, I think we'll have a full house of signings. And then August is going to be about cleaning the room, deciding who stays, who leaves, who stays, who leaves. We've done a lot of who stays, who leaves on this channel. And I think I've told you, I told you in June, the conversations about exiting players at Arsenal are now going to be as interesting as players incoming. Because, we have the likes of Partey. But next summer, you're going to have the likes of Trossard. Do you keep? Do you sell? You're going to have the likes of Jesus. Do you keep? Do you sell? You're going to have other players, right, that you'll be looking at, right? So do you keep? Do you sell? Anyway, the big point in this transfer roundup is that Mikel Arteta wants his signings in July, and Arsenal are targeting to do 3 alongside outgoings. At the moment, two players have already left. Mika Bierith to Stamp Grass, 4 million. Only 4 million. Only 4 million. I don't know how this deal was structured. I don't know who agreed this deal, but I think Arsenal need to sack them. We need to sack them. I don't see how, and I don't see why you would give away one of our most talented players. Because, and again, this is where I blame whoever did the Mika Bierith deal. How do you sell a potential striker that could become, because what we have seen in the last 5 years is young strikers are now transforming into real strikers. We are no longer having so many strikers dying the way it was. Welbeck, striker prospect, dies off. Nketiah, striker prospect, dies off. Sanogo dies off. Bentina dies off. These days, we are actually seeing strikers start young and then develop into formidable players. Haaland, Man United scouted him at 16, 15, 14. They failed to get him. Sesko, the one we are looking at right now, it is the same story. So, and then you look at the striker market. The striker market right now needs a lot of talented players. And Arsenal have Chido Obi Martin, and Arsenal have Mika Bierith, and we have sold Mika Bierith for 4 million. I didn't understand that. I really, really didn't. Especially as ourselves being in the similar position where you need a center forward who is young, vibrant, and has a higher ceiling. We're not the only club. Like, usually, this is how it would work in the past. A club like Ajax would have a good striker. A club like Benfica would have a good striker, young striker. A club like Lyon would have a good one, maybe like Lacazette. Lille could have one, right? But these days, those strikers are not even there. And therefore, I thought we would use the scarcity on the striker market as Arsenal to benefit ourselves. To maybe say 15 million for Mika Bierith. Look at the striker market. This boy is going to turn into something great. But instead, Arsenal make 4 million on Mika Bierith, and Chelsea make 22 on Omar Hutchinson, who came from Arsenal. I hope everyone who was celebrating that 4 million that was paid into Arsenal's account by Chelsea has now been humbled. Our selling is bad, like really bad. Actually, I would say, in this month, I'm scared of Arsenal doing bad sales than bad incomings. I trust Mikel when it comes to incomings. I trust Edu these days when it comes to incomings. They do their research. They put in a lot of work, and you've got to love it. You've got to admire what they do. But in terms of sales, let's say it. Let's have it. In terms of sales, they are atrocious. Really atrocious. And that Mika Bierith deal, if it becomes successful, and maybe Arsenal get, we have a sell-on percentage, so we will get some money when it's sold. I don't know what, 30%, 10%, 15%. Again, Arsenal will get another 4 million when Nika Bierith is sold for 22 million. It doesn't make any sense for me. Really doesn't. But anyway, I want us to talk about the winger situation. So I'm going to give you something little from Fabrizio on Calafiori. There's nothing really to dive into with Calafiori. I hope I've done a good job by covering each and every outlet and also covering each and every update on Ricardo Calafiori. You can go and watch the past videos. But Fabrizio has said that Ricardo Calafiori is now sold on to that Arsenal move. 100% he wants Arsenal, and he doesn't see himself joining another club. So Bologna and Arsenal are now confident they are agreeing a deal for a player who is also in the same direction. Contract till 2029, 5-year deal, 4 million a year. That is done. That is dusted. So Fabrizio has just tweeted that Ricardo Calafiori only wants Arsenal. He's crazy about Arsenal, and we know that Mikel Arteta is also crazy about the player. So at least for Calafiori, we know we are moving to our second signing. So I want us to talk about the winger situation because it's one that could develop quickly, and we also have a new target in Rafinha. And I thought what we would do when it comes to the wingers is to talk about who is the best option and what is the best deal, right? Rafinha is a player we've wanted before, and I don't have a problem with Rafinha, but personally, why am I not very convinced? Why am I not very convinced about Rafinha? I've seen him for Barca. I don't think he's a bad player. I don't think he's had a bad season in any way, shape, or form. I don't think he's had a bad season. But why am I not convinced about him? Why do I think Arsenal could do better than Rafinha? I want your thoughts on Rafinha. This is the main topic we are discussing. Rafinha over Nico Williams, Rafinha over Bakayoko. I think those are the two I would say Arsenal are 100% interested in. The likes of Chiesa, they're just market opportunities. If Arsenal want to do them, we will do them. If Arsenal don't want to do them, we will not do them. So let's start off with Rafinha. So it has been reported today by an outlet called Sports in Spain that Arsenal would love to give Eddie Nketiah to Barcelona. This sounds like a joke. It really, really does sound like a joke. Arsenal would love to give Nketiah to Barcelona, add money on top, and then we get Rafinha from there. Now, let us dismiss the deal. Barcelona already have a very young striker. They have a very experienced one, Lewandowski, but then they have that young striker they signed from Brazil, right? For around 40 million, 50 million. They're never going to take Edin Nketiah. If Barcelona take Nketiah, that is the day I will stop watching their games. I would never watch Barca again if they take Eddie Nketiah, because they have now turned into a generational joke. So I don't think they'll take Eddie. I don't think it's a serious deal. But what I pick from there is the Rafinha link. Rafinha has been linked with Arsenal, I think, on more than one occasion. First, we've got to say, right? He's been linked with Arsenal on more than one occasion. And there was a time where Arsenal felt we could sign him, right? There's a time where we felt we could sign him. And maybe at that time, he was at Leeds and Barcelona was struggling financially. The money was a little bit, I would say, favorable to Arsenal. But when I think about, that time and now, what has changed is Rafinha's time at Barcelona and Rafinha's guarantee at Barcelona has changed. But at Arsenal, the same manager that wanted him is still there. That's very, very important. And I think Arsenal would love to do a deal for Rafinha. So I think with Rafinha, it's very interesting. Does he want to stay at Barca, regardless of not having the game time, regardless of not being as important as he was for them a couple of, when he signed under Xavi? Because those are Xavi signings. Kunde is a Xavi signing. Rafinha is a Xavi signing. Who else is a Xavi signing? Okay, Lewandowski is a Xavi signing, right? Those are players that signed because Xavi wanted them. Those are players that signed because of Xavi. Now that Xavi is gone, Hansi Flick has come in. Does Hansi Flick really rate Rafinha? I don't think so. Because Hansi Flick is going to play Yamal and he wants Nico Williams. And then you have got Ferran Torres as well. So the future of Rafinha at Barca is uncertain. And again, like I said earlier on, this is a market that is full of opportunities. It's a market that's going to be driven by opportunities. Is Rafinha an opportunity on the market today? Absolutely. 100%. He's an opportunity. He's an opportunity on the market today. You can get him for less than 60 million that Barca spent on him. That's number one. And I think you can bring him in and he can transform. He can transform into an Alexis Sanchez. Maybe it doesn't work as hard as Alexis Sanchez, but I can see him as a player who can go up a level under a proper manager and under a proper system. So would I take Rafinha at Arsenal? It's difficult. I mean, when he was at Leeds, I could see the picture. I really, really wanted him. And I was like, yeah, I would take him. But they've had a bad season at Barca. I am not 100% convinced about him now. I'm not 100% convinced about Rafinha. I'm not in the same position I was when he was at Leeds in that summer of 2022 and was like, sign him now, spend the money, give him whatever he wants. I'm no longer in that position. It's different. It has changed. But what I would say is I'll take him over Pedro Neto that we're going to talk about. I'll take him over I'll take him over Neto. I'll take him over Neto. I think only Neto because of his injury prone record, right? Because of his injury record, I'll take Rafinha over Neto. I wouldn't take him over Chiesa, personally. No, I wouldn't. I'll take Chiesa. I wouldn't take him over Nico Williams, and I wouldn't take him over Bakayoko. Because Williams and Bakayoko are young, fresh, and they're not yet defined. You can define them. You can mold them into what you want. So Rafinha, if a deal can be agreed between 40 to 45 million euros, which I really see happen, I don't think it's going to be more expensive. That 40, 45, 50 million euros, that would be a good deal. But does he come in and give us something that Saka gives us? Does he come in and revolutionize our attack? Does he really do that? Good on the free kick, by the way. Very good on the free kick. His deliveries on corners are good. He's a set piece specialist. It's one of the things you have. In Arsenal, you don't have a set piece specialist. You don't have that. All you have is players that really try. Apart from maybe Declan Rice, because Declan Rice's ability to whip in a good ball, that's magically underrated. So Rafinha, Mikel Arteta has wanted him. We didn't get him on the first try. We could get him on the second try. It's not a bad shout, right? It's not a bad shout. I think, I guess it depends on how much, right? How much. If he's cheaper than Nico Williams, cheaper than Bakayoko, yeah, I would say that's a good deal. You do that deal. But if it's more expensive than them, I'm not convinced about it. Not 100%. Not 100%. But he's not among the priorities anyway. So the three priorities for winger and that in that position are in their order: Williams, Neto, Bakayoko. Yeah, I also thought that Bakayoko would be second, but according to the Athletic, it's Williams, it's Neto, and it's Bakayoko. With Neto and Rafinha, they have two advantages. I think just rub the idea of Chiesa out of your head, because Chiesa is not like on the Arsenal list. He's just available. They like him. We like him. So the idea of Rafinha and the idea of Neto is of a Premier League proven player. That is that is why you go for them, right? That's why you go for them. Premier League proven players, and they have gone against the best of the rest. Played at the top level. Rafinha at Barca, that was that was like really good. They won the league when he had just gone there, and then Neto for Wolves. I think he's terrorized defenses in the Premier League. But the problem with Neto, when do you ever have him? I think I've said this before, and I was talking to Glenn about this deal, and I said when it comes to Pedro Neto, it's between one or two things. Number one, if you're Neto, if you're looking at signing Neto and his injury record, do you believe he can put his injuries behind him? Now, he is a very young player. He's a very rapid player, and no team in this world wouldn't take him. But his injuries are very concerning, like really concerning. You cannot be that injury prone at that age. Your career is going to go down the drain. So either at Wolves, they're playing him with injuries and he's not recovered, and they play him again. He's not injured and they play him again, or he's just an injury prone player. Because I was looking at his injuries, the list of his injuries. I don't know if I still have it here. Let me see. I was looking at the list of his injuries in the last few years, and I was like, gracious God, this guy has suffered. This, yeah, I have it. So Neto has suffered 13 different injuries across his entire career. 13 different, not 13 times, right? Because some of them, are regurgitating. He has had, muscle injuries 2 times, but he has had 13 different injuries. The way you would have an SCL, then you have a groin injury, then you have a muscle injury, then you have a calf injury. He has had 13 different injuries, and he's not yet 26, 20. He's not yet 25, 26. So what happens when he becomes older? What really happens? So either Arsenal and again, Neto is a player Arsenal almost signed in 2022. When we failed to get it was Rafinha. Arsenal during the back end of that window, we tried to go and sign Neto for 50 million. But by that time, Wolves was so stupid. They said, we don't want 50 million. We want, how much were they asking for? Oh, they say they were not selling? No, they were selling, but I think they were asking for a bigger amount of money. They were asking for a big amount of money. That's what I remember. 70 million, maybe? I think they're asking for something between 60 to 70 million. So, again, Mikel trusts himself in changing players. That's one thing that we know very well. Trusts himself in changing players. Trusts himself in turning players' careers around. But with injuries, it's a little bit different. However, Ricardo Calafiori, like we've talked about, he has spent 563 days injured. That is very close to the amount of time Kieran has spent out injured. And, I would love to say that Kieran has played more games and he has been, a player for more times or for a longer time than Calafiori, who's just 22, and, Tierney is 27. So can we fix the injuries of your boy, Neto? Maybe yes, maybe no. But without injuries, I'll take Neto over Bakayoko. I'll take Neto over Rafinha. 60 million is what Wolves want. I don't have a problem with 60 million, really, because it's not my money and I would love Arsenal to improve. But I think they're selling us a dream. He's a 40 million pound player right now because of those injuries. Nico Williams, the Euros. Yeah, he's still at the Euros. There's nothing you really can do about this yet. But if Arsenal are going to sign a winger, the Athletic are saying he is the priority. He is the option. He's the one they want. They don't care. He is the one they want. Um, Williams on and off the ball. On the ball, brilliant. Like devastatingly brilliant. Off the ball, I don't think he's got that work ethic of a Gabriel Martinelli. I don't think he's got that work ethic of I don't think he's got that work ethic of Saka. No, I don't think he's there yet. But on the ball, devastating. Really, really, really devastating. Quick, just flashes in front of you, kind of like Jeremy Doku. He's brilliant. He doesn't really care. He will do whatever it takes to beat a player, and he will do whatever it takes to beat a man. And he's brave and he's versatile. So I know why Mikel wants to sign him as number one priority. I think it's very, very. I think it's very. It's very good scouting. He's a very good talent, right? But the wages are the reason why I see that deal kind of fall off. Unless they can structure it in a way that every year maybe he earns something more, I can see Arsenal kind of be proud and they're like, we're not giving you 300,000, you kid. We're not giving you 300,000, you kid. So for 300,000 and 58 million euros, would I take him? There are not so many better, really. There are not so many better. And I don't think Arsenal really have any interest in Chiesa. If they did have any interest in Chiesa, I would say probably. I would say most probably. But Arsenal really don't have any interest in Chiesa. Now, Bakayoko. So Bakayoko is the real option, not so. Bakayoko is the real option because with Bakayoko, what you have is an affordable player on normal wages and a player that PSV are ready to sell. That means much. That means very much. The fact that they're willing to sell means very much because there are some clubs that always say, no, we're not selling. And that means that the price goes up. And also, I think with Bakayoko, you don't have a lot of clubs interested in him. You're not having big competition. Chelsea, they're going for someone else. Man United, not really. So there's no big competition. Yes, there might be one or two clubs, but you can easily convince him to join Arsenal over those clubs. So what I would say with Johan Bakayoko, if we don't get Williams, let's go for Bakayoko. If we don't get Bakayoko, let's go for Rafinha. Because of the injury record, right? Because of the injury record, I wouldn't really say we go for Neto. I wouldn't really settle for Neto. And on top of all of them, yeah, I'll take Chiesa. On top of all of them, I'll take Chiesa. You know why I'll take Chiesa? Because Chiesa has got that experience now. He's 25. I would love Nico, but having two very young players, Nico, Martinelli, and Saka, those are three, there is something you're missing. There's a reason as to why Trossard has been actually very good for Arsenal. The reason is Trossard signing for Arsenal was like, I think, a career upgrade on his side, right? It was like a career upgrade on his side. He came in from Brighton, comes into Arsenal. He's 28, 29. He knows this is his last chance to impress and play at a top level. And if he had failed, right, then he's not a top level player. But also when you think about Trossard and you think about the position he picks up, you think about the way he presses, you think about the way he runs. There's a lot of experience in that guy. Now with Chiesa, when I look at him, there's no experience. There's not a lot of experience, but as a 25, 26, 27-year-old, there are things he can do that a young Saka maybe has not yet done or is just yet to do. And actually, I'm looking at the England game on my screen, and I'm like, Mainu, Bellingham, Foden, Saka. Um, this is a bunch of kids that have been put together, and they are good, by the way. They have a very, very good generation. But what people don't actually acknowledge is that England are just a bunch of kids that have a lot of talent. Maybe if they get to if they get to 25, 26 in their prime, they could do better. But at the moment, right, they're still very young, honestly. So that's why I would say Chiesa might be a very good option. Guys, let's get to watch that England game. Thank you so much for watching. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel as well, and we'll speak soon.